For NEET preparation, subscribe Professor Srivastava's biology lectures so that you can get regular updates.
Now we are going to start our discussion with the last part of the first chapter, Living World, and that particular chapter or that particular topic is considered to be taxonomic aids. Now basically when you talk about the taxonomic aids, whenever anyone perform the taxonomic studies are helpful for agriculture. Taxonomic studies are also helpful for forestry. Taxonomic studies are also helpful in knowing what are bioresources available and what are biodiversity is present. One thing you should consider that whenever the taxonomic studies are performed, the two aspects are most important in taxonomic studies. The first aspect is considered to be classification and second aspect is considered to be identification. For identification or classification, you have to go into the field, you have to collect that particular plant or animal, and then you have to perform studies. That does mean any type of classification or identification required field work, required laboratory work. So taxonomists were thinking that they have to simplify this particular process, and they will came up with the idea कि what if we collect the specimen of particular plant and animal, and that specimen along with its information can be preserved for the future use. By this particular idea, there will develop the techniques which are called taxonomic aids. So what are taxonomic aids? Taxonomic aids are simply considered to be techniques, or you can say that procedure, techniques or procedure to store two aspects. First one, to store the specimen of plant and animal, to store the specimen of that plant and animal, and second one you can say that also to store the information which is gathered. So now onward, if someone asks you what is the taxonomic aids are simply considered to be a techniques or procedure that are used to store the specimen or information. And in taxonomic aids there are various taxonomic aids are present. For example, if you you can say store the plant specimen, that is considered to be herbarium. If you store living plants, that is called botanical gardens. Zoological parks, taxonomic keys, museum are different types of taxonomic aids, and all of you know that these are used to store what? Specimen along with its information. The first taxonomic aid we are going to discuss, that particular taxonomic aid is considered to be herbarium. Now basically when you talk about the herbarium, what is meant by herbarium? Let us suppose consider that we had gathered a one plant specimen. Now in herbarium, this plant specimen whatever is collected, listen, herbarium having the information of only plant specimen. You should understand that. Now whatever the plant specimen is present, that plant specimen, first one, it is dried. Okay, it will be dried. Second one, it will be pressed. And you can consider that this particular plant specimen will be preserved on a sheet, and these all sheets which are collected, these all sheets will be arranged, all the sheets will be arranged according to universally accepted classification. That particular collection of sheets is nothing but called as herbarium. So what is meant by herbarium? Herbarium is considered to be a collection of plant specimen that is dried, pressed and preserved on sheets, and all the sheets are arranged according to universally accepted classification. And that's why what will happen, any taxonomics when want to study about the plant, he can easily get the sheet and study that plants. That's why when you talk about the herbarium, it is said that herbarium will become quick referral system. Now let us talk about more details of herbarium sheets. Whenever a herbarium sheets is prepared, let us suppose this is the herbarium sheets. Now generally the size of herbarium sheet is considered to be 11.5 to 16.5 inch, okay, or 11.2 to 16.2 inch. Now when you talk about these particular herbarium sheets, if suppose a plant specimen is present on a herbarium sheets, okay, this is considered to be plant specimen. In this herbarium sheet, there are certain things which are mentioned here. First, whatever is mentioned, that is considered to be date of collection and then place of collection. At what date and from what place this particular plant specimen is collected. Then there will be mentioned English, okay, English, then local and its botanical name. English, local and botanical name. That particular name is also mentioned on a herbarium sheets. Then there will be mentioned a family of that particular plant, which family this particular plant is belonging. And the last thing which is mentioned, that is considered to be collector's name. That does mean who has collected this particular sample, that collector name is also mentioned on a herbarium sheet. So herbarium sheet consists of date and place of collection. It also consists of its English, local and botanical name, along with plant ki family and along with collector's name. That whatever the collection of sheets are present, that is nothing but called as herbarium. So what you remember about herbarium? Herbarium is collection of first one, plant specimen. The plant specimen is dried, pressed and preserved and mounted on a sheets, and all these sheets are arranged according to classification. Second one, it become a quick reference system for the taxonomic studies. On herbarium sheets, there are mentioned certain things like date and place of collection, English, local, botanical name, family and collector's name. Now another point you have to remember that another taxonomic tool which is used for the study of specimen, that is considered to be simple tools. First one is called, we are all aware of this, particularly called as botanical garden, and second one whatever is present, that is called zoological parks. Now let us shortly discuss about botanical garden. Now the second taxonomic tool whatever is used, that is called botanical gardens. Botanical gardens. Now whenever you talk about the botanical gardens are considered to be collection of living plants. So one point you should consider that whenever you talk about the botanical garden are considered to be collection of living plants. Collection of living plants. Of course the different diverse plants whatever is present, they are collected in a botanical garden. Now this collection of living plants is done for identification purpose. Is done for identification. And another point you have to remember that whenever there is a living plant is there, some sort of information regarding with this particular living plant is also mentioned along with tag form. So you can consider collection of living plant is called botanical garden. You have to remember three examples regarding with botanical garden. When you talk about the largest botanical garden in world, that is considered to be Royal Botanical Garden. This Royal Botanical Garden, whatever is present, it is located in Kew in England. This is the largest botanical garden in world. Okay. Now when you talk about the India, in India there is present a Jagdish Chandra Bose Garden, that is commonly called Indian Botanical Garden. Indian Botanical Garden, and this Indian Botanical Garden is located in Kolkata, or you can say that it is located in Howrah in West Bengal. This particular garden is considered to be famous garden in India. The another botanical garden is considered to be Indian Botanical Research Institute, that is considered to be Indian Botanical Research Institute. And this Indian Botanical Garden Research Institute whatever is present, that is located in Lucknow. Okay, so these three examples you should remember as far as the botanical gardens are concerned. Okay, largest botanical garden in world or famous botanical garden is Royal Botanical Garden, which is located in Kew, England. Second, Indian Botanical Garden is located in Howrah, West Bengal near Kolkata. And IBRI, that is called Indian Botanical Research Institute, that is located in Lucknow. So wherever the living plants are collected, that is called botanical garden. The second taxonomic tools that is considered to be zoological parks. Zoological parks. Now, whenever you talk about the zoological parks we commonly call zoos. Am I right? Now, whenever you talk about the zoological park is considered to be a collection of wild animals. Collection of wild animals. Now, as far as the collection of wild animals are concerned, you should consider that these particular wild animals, whatever is present, they are kept in protected environment. Kept in protected environment. So, whenever you talk about the wild animals, these wild animals are kept in protected environment under human care. Under human care. One thing I have to mention in zoological parks is that in zoological park, whatever the environment is given to this wild animal, that particular environment is similar to their natural habitat. So they will try to provide the similar environment as far as their natural habitat is concerned. Another point about the zoological parks you have to consider why we collect these wild animals. We collect these wild animals to study their habitat. And also to study about their food behaviors. So these 3 points you should remember about zoological park. Zoological parks are collection of which animals? Wild animals. Those animals which are endangered, those animals which are considered to be, you can say that, having exotic animals which are exported from foreign countries, these are collected and kept into the zoological parks. All the animals which are present in zoological parks are kept in a protected environment under human care, and they have provided the environment which is similar to their natural habitat. Another point you have to remember, wild animals, whatever is present, these are kept in zoological park for 2 purposes. First one to study their habitat, and second one to study their food behavior. So these are considered to be 3 taxonomic traits. Am I right? The first one, collection of plant specimen that are dried, pressed and preserved, that is called herbarium sheets. Collection of living plants, that is called botanical gardens. And whenever there is a collection of wild animals, am I right, that is considered to be zoological parks. Now, another taxonomic aid which is used generally in a school, colleges and institute, that particular botanical aid is called as museum. Now, basically, when you talk about the museum, the one point you have to consider, museum is a collection of, museum is considered to be a collection of plant and animal specimen. Plant and animal specimen. Of course, not living. Am I right? So, whenever you talk about the collection of plant and animal specimen, the collection of plant and animal specimen is called as museum. Now, you have to remember certain aspect regarding with museum. Listen. The first point you have to remember regarding with museum is that whenever you talk about the museum is having a collection of plant and specimen in a containers which are having preservative solution. So you can consider generally in museum the specimen whatever is present, okay, whatever the specimen is present, that specimen is preserved. That specimen is preserved in containers, or that particular specimens are preserved in jar. And wherever they are preserved in containers and you can say that jar, they are preserved along with preservative solution. So this is for when we are trying to preserve the actual specimen. Sometimes when you talk about the museum is also having collection of dry specimen. Sometimes the dry specimen is also stored. Another point you have to remember regarding the museum is that whenever the museum you talk about, sometimes the museum is also having collection of insects. And whenever the collection of insects is there, these particular insects whatever is present, that are first one collected, then these particular insects will be killed and they will you can say that pin or they will undergo pinning, and these insects whatever is present, they are kept into insect box. Kept into which box? Insect box. Another point, in museum there are also present large animals. So whenever there is a large birds are present, or you can consider large mammals are present. Usually these large birds and mammals whatever is present, they generally kept in a stuffed form, means all the moisture from their body will be removed and they are stuffed. So stuffed form will be present in case of large birds and mammals. And last point you should remember कि whenever you talk about the museum is also having collection of skeleton. But one point you should keep in your mind कि museum never have collection of photographs. Museum never have collection of what? Yes, please, photographs. So what you remember? Listen. The museum is considered to be collection of plant and animal specimen. In museum, the specimen are kept in a preserved solution or preservative solution in a container or jar. Sometimes these particular specimen are a dry specimen. Sometimes the insects whatever is present, they are collected, killed and pinned in an insect box. The larger birds and mammals are usually stuffed, and insects also have collection of what? Skeleton. So collection of plant and animal specimen, that is nothing but called as what? Museum. And the another taxonomic tool which is used in you can say that taxonomic study, that is considered to be keys. The one point you have to remember that keys, when you generally talk about keys, is considered to be analytical tool. Keys, when you talk about keys, is considered to be analytical tool. Now when I talk about keys are analytical tool, that does mean the keys, when you're supposed to consider, keys are considered to be collection of different statements. Different statements are given, and collection of different statements is nothing but called as keys. But basically when you talk about the keys are used for identification of any animal. Keys are used for identification of any animal. And whenever you talk about these particular keys, these keys are based on animal key similarities and animal key dissimilarities. So you can consider that whenever you talk about the keys, let us suppose consider there are given two statements, okay, and these statements are contrasting statement. Which statement? Yes, contrasting. That does mean these two statements whatever is present, these are opposite to each other. So what we do, if we are identifying one animal, we will select one statement which belong to that animal and we will reject the another statement. So whenever there are two statements are present, that does mean contrasting statements are present. Generally these contrasting statements are called as couplet. So whenever the pair of statement is there or pair of character is there, that is called couplet. And the each statement, listen carefully, whatever the each statement is present, that each statement is nothing but called as lead. So whenever you talk about the taxonomic key, in taxonomic key, the pair of statements or contrasting character is called couplet. What is this called? Yes, please, couplet. Okay, and whenever the each statement is present, that each statement is called as lead. Now let us take an example. Let us suppose we are studying an animal and one couplet is given. That particular animal is having a presence of notochord. Okay, whatever the notochord is present, that particular notochord is statement 1 is given, that is called present, and statement 2 is given, that is the notochord is absent. Now whenever you are supposed to consider this statement, listen, when you consider this statement, that notochord whatever is present, this notochord is present. So whenever you consider notochord is present, that is called as lead. But whenever you consider these both statements, am I right? So you can say that you are considering notochord is absent as well as present. So you are considering two statements together. That is nothing but called as what? Couplet. And this analytical tool whatever is present, which is used for identification, that is nothing but called as keys. So keys, you should remember 3-4 points. Okay, the first one, keys is analytical tool. That does mean keys is written tool. Okay, second one, keys is used for identification. It is collection of statement. Both the statements which are used in key, that is nothing but called as couplet, and each statement is called as what? Lead. That particular taxonomic aid is called as what? Keys. Now let us remember some 3 particular extra tools in short form. The another taxonomic tool whatever is used, that is called flora. Now flora, when you are supposed to consider, flora will give you information about habitat and distribution distribution of a plant, habitat and distribution of a plant in given area. So if you suppose to consider that you have selected any area, and in that area how much plants are present, how much plant distributed, how this plant habitat is present, that is nothing but called as flora. The second documentation whatever is used, that is called manuals. What is that called? Manuals. You should just remember that whenever you talk about the manuals, manuals are considered to be an identification tool which gives you idea about names of plant species, in a given area. So you can say that if there is a collection of names of plant species in a given area, that particularly collection is nothing but called manuals. And third one whatever is used, that is called monographs. And whenever you talk about the monographs gives you the information of only one taxon or only one category. So whenever you study only one taxon or one category or one group of animal, that is called monograph. So you can consider in a given area, if you are talking about plant habitat and distribution, that is called flora. If you talk about in given area the names of plant species, that is called manuals. And if you talk about only one taxon, that is nothing but called as what? Monographs. So these are the different taxonomic aids which we had discussed. Now let us revise rapidly about the taxonomic aids we had discussed. First one, I have told you that taxonomic studies will require classification and identification. So for that purpose, there is a technique developed to store the specimens of plants and animals or different organisms, and that techniques are called as taxonomic aids. The first taxonomic aid we had discussed, that is called herbarium. Now basically when you talk about the herbarium is considered to be collection of which specimen? Plant specimen, and these plant specimen are dried, pressed and preserved. Second taxonomic tool we had discussed, that is called which gardens? Yes, botanical garden. Am I right? Botanical garden is considered to be collection of which plants? Living plants. Third one, whenever there is a collection of wild animal, that is called zoological parks. Whenever there is a collection of plant and animal specimen, that is nothing but called, yes please, museum. Am I right? And whenever there is an analytical tool which consists of couplets and lead, that analytical tool is called keys. Whenever you talk about the distribution of plants in a given area, that is called flora. Whenever you talk about the names of plant species in a given area, that is nothing but called, yes, manuals. Am I right? And whenever you talk about one taxon, one group of organism, that is nothing but called which graph? Monograph. Am I right? So these are considered to be different taxonomic aids which are used for botanical taxonomic research. So in all the part 5 videos, we have discussed about the first chapter, that is called living world. Now in next video, we will start with the second chapter, that is called biological classification.